My father's words are still with me. And he said, following the analysis of Rome Club, that there are two things that threaten the very existence of humanity: the gap between man and nature, and the gap between north and south, between rich and poor. And these gaps must be closed before it is too late. Still, today in the world, there are those that think that climate change is a fantasy. But there are, fortunately, world nations that show a fair commitment to humanity on this topic. And that is the case of the United Kingdom. Its government, its society, and of course academia, culture and science represented so well by the British Council. Everybody have a strong commitment with this issue, and I'm convinced that the climate change generated by global warming is, as I say, one of the biggest challenges humanity faces in the 21st century. Together, we must face it now, and together, we must find a solution. Let me talk about what we are doing in Mexico so far. Recently, we have set the foundation for policies to mitigate and adapt, including the special climate programs that has two agendas in our country. First, a great agenda that is oriented to the reductions of greenhouse emissions through technological innovations, energy efficiency programs in industry, but also in the consumer's behavior. For instance, we want to change the habits of consumers and to promote saving energy programs among the people in Mexico. We want to promote alternative generations such as wind and solar power plants. When I was Secretary of Energy, I proposed my predecessor, former President Fox, to establish a wind farm in Mexico. He agreed, but when I went to the CFE, the public electricity company in Mexico, the engineers, and no offense for nobody, but all these old engineers started to say, well, that's crazy, that's stupid, there is no sense, it's cheaper to produce energy with natural gas or even fuels and other. But finally I persuaded the President, and I authorized the first wind farm in Mexico. And it was a pleasure for me to inaugurate it as President already. And we have the first wind farm in Oaxaca, and it produced like 100 megawatts. But today, currently, there are several programs and projects, and we are going to be able to produce almost 3,000 megawatts coming from the wind very soon in Mexico. And at the same time, I'm promoting to attract more investment in order to produce solar cells in the country. Actually, I inaugurated 3 weeks ago a new facility for Kyocera company in Baja California in order to produce solar cells. And we are talking with the German company, Q-Cells, and they have plans to establish a new factory in Mexico of solar cells, and the investment could be even up to $3 billion in Mexico. So we are pushing really hard in that matter. Mexico aims to reduce its carbon emissions in the medium term. And I want to say this because we are planning to establish serious goals in terms of carbon emissions reductions. Nevertheless, we are a developing country because there is the traditional idea that the developing nations are considered exempt from this obligation. And I don't share that point of view. Other goals that we have is we have the objective for the year 2012 that at least a quarter of our total energy comes from renewable energies in the country. Other is we want to reduce to zero the emissions of natural gas in oil industry. So when I took office, the rate of natural gas emission to the atmosphere was almost 20%. We are reaching today only 7%, and our goal is to reach zero emissions in oil company Pemex in Mexico. We are also asking industry to modernize processes and make them more efficient. And finally, we are trying to help Mexican families, especially low-income families, to substitute all appliances with new ones. And we are even providing subsidies. We are providing credit for all at very low rates. But also we are providing even subsidies for the poorest family according with the income of each family. In some cases, we are giving 50% of the cost of the new refrigerator or the new air conditioner equipment in a program that the government is promoting in the country. By the way, at the same time, we are doing this because this is a very effective counter-cyclical measure, because you can imagine the manufacturing industry in Mexico of these appliances is suffering a lot from the slowdown of the American demand. So we are acquiring this equipment, Mexican equipment, so we are supporting the jobs in the industry, and at the same time, we are saving energy and money. We are saving energy because the new appliances, the new refrigerators, use only 40% of the energy that the old refrigerators used to use. And we are saving money, the people are saving money, and the government is saving money as well, because we are paying in subsidies of electricity for those families almost the half of the cost of the electricity. So it's clearly a win-win program. And of course, my goal is to change all the appliances in the country in the midterm. In order to do more attractive the program for the people, I suggested to my team to change the name, but the name was something like Save Energy and Help the Environment or something like that. But I suggested a new name of the program, which is more or less you can substitute your old for a new one. So, ladies, in Spanish is cambia tu viejo por uno nuevo. So it's a very good one. So the people is responding very well. So somebody is disappointing, but at the end it has been very, very successful program. Well, let me tell you that at the same time we are the only developing nation that presented already 3 national communications to the United Nations, and we will shortly have ready to present a 4th national communication that lays out our greenhouse emissions and the actions we are taking and the money we are spending to reduce greenhouse emissions in Mexico. And second, let me tell you about the green agenda aimed at preserving the flora of our country through programs oriented at preventing deforestation and promoting reforestation in a productive way.